Evening. So Martin O'Neill named his Ireland squad today for the upcoming friendly against Turkey, with both eyes firmly focused on the future. Seanie Maguire is in the squad. He is on fire right now, and he's going to be joining us on the football show this evening just after 9 o'clock. The Irish rugby team has been named. Tyke Furlong is back. Ian Henderson kept among the replacements. We have a very special Thursday night rugby coming your way just after 8. Andy Dunn and Rory O'Connor will join us in studio. Mike Quirk and Brendan Devaney coming before 9 o'clock as well. Going to look ahead to Dublin against Kerry and all the weekend's Gaelic football action. And as always on a Thursday, we will talk with John Giles, who'll be with us in studio at 7:30. So you can get your texts in now for John to 53106. We're on Twitter at Off The Ball if you're watching on Periscope, or if you're watching on Facebook.com/Off The Ball or YouTube.com/Off The Ball. Please do leave a comment. Kevin Kilbane is here. How are you?
How are you, Nathan? All good.
Richie, how are you?
Hey, Nathan.
So I've got some big news. We have another guest for our Off The Ball Roadshow in association with Heineken Rugby Club next Wednesday night, March 14th, in the National Concert Hall. Salubrious surroundings. And we may need to get the red carpet out for our guest.
Oh.
He may not stand on it though, or he may force Joe Malloy not to go on the red carpet when he's meeting him. Who could it be? Only a World Cup winning captain, a Lions legend, one of England's greatest ever players, Martin Johnson, is joining us at the National Concert Hall next Wednesday evening.
It's a biggie.
Still though, on my script, who gets top billing? Is it Ireland's greatest ever rugby player, Brian O'Driscoll?
No, it's not.
It's Joe Malloy.
Joe Malloy, yeah.
It's Joe Malloy.
Well, Joe's kicked on to new levels, hasn't he?
Joe Malloy, Brian O'Driscoll, Martin Johnson, Eddie O'Sullivan, Nick Popplewell previewing a potential championship and Grand Slam decider at Twickenham next Wednesday night. You can get your tickets right now, offtheball.com/events. It is the Off The Ball Roadshow with thanks to HeinekenRugbyClub.com. Martin Johnson, eh?
Yeah, no. Someone actually said to me today that Joe's gone a bit big time now. So
who said that to you?
No, just someone said that to me. I'll leave it for another day.
In what way?
Talk of the TV3 Sports Department.
I don't know. No, it's nothing to do with. No, it's nothing to do with TV3. No, just mentioned to me today. That's all. Yeah, no. So, but no, Martin Johnson's a great name.
I didn't say it.
It's a great name. It's a great name.
You've often said it.
Well,
I said it the first time I met him.
Personally, I've noticed a few changes, but just a few.
Anything you want to go into?
No.
The listeners like to be able to peek behind the curtain
I'm proud
see
of
the
him.
issues within the Off The Ball team.
No, I'm proud of him. Honestly.
In a patronising, pat him on the head kind of way.
No. He's doing great stuff.
He'll have his work cut out next Wednesday night, eh?
Johnson.
Do you remember that? Did you feel disrespected when he had Mary McAleese walking on the grass, high heels sinking into the grass?
What year was that?
Oh,
2003, Grand Slam decider.
Yeah, we were shit. I was watching
won 42-6.
I was watching that in the staff room in HMB in Blanche, and we were all as one roaring at the telly. So next Wednesday should be fun, if nothing else.
Everybody afterwards said, actually, I had a sort of begrudging respect for him.
Who said that?
He came to Dublin and went, screw you all. No, I'm not moving. He did say afterwards, if the referee had asked him to move, he would have moved, but it was just some job's worth. So he wasn't having that, pal.
Set him up nicely for a World Cup, to be fair, though, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it all worked out quite well for Martin Johnson in the end.
2003 was
so it should be
okay.
a pretty tasty atmosphere.
He had a decent career, didn't he?
So, and what a venue as well, the National Concert Hall, eh? We're getting very posh.
We're
getting very posh. So that's Joe Malloy off the telly, Brian O'Driscoll, Martin Johnson, Eddie O'Sullivan, Nick Popplewell, offtheball.com/events if you want to get that for next Wednesday night here in Dublin. Definitely well worth going along to. Earlier today, I was down at the Aviva Stadium. Martin O'Neill was naming his squad for the friendly against Turkey, very much looking towards 2020, left the likes of Darren Randolph, Stephen Ward, Aidan McGeady out of the squad. Don't think any of them are going to retire. John O'Shea, Glenn Whelan not there. 5 new caps, including Declan Rice, who he presumes is going to come and turn up, and all that. Seanie Maguire, who we're going to chat to just after 9 o'clock. One of just 3. We have more goalkeepers in the squad than we have strikers. We've only Shane Long, Scott Hogan and Seanie Maguire, where we have 4 goalkeepers. So we'll hear some of Martin O'Neill a little bit later. I was remiss in my research that I didn't notice the big talking point, and there were quite a few, because he was asked about Michael O'Neill's comments about us
we'll
stealing and robbing players from the north. But I didn't notice that, and this could be a historic day for Irish football. And do text in 53106.
Yeah, I have actually put a text to someone to confirm it, but we'll see.
We think that this may well be the first day in Irish football history that there's more players from Cork in the Ireland squad than there are players from Dublin.
I just heard a clap of thunder outside. Did you hear that?
Richie, what are you doing up at... You're not playing on the streets anymore.
Street footballers just don't exist anymore, unfortunately, and people of Cork have taken over.
There are only 4 dubs in this Irish squad. Matt Doherty.
Yeah.
Bowes legend.
Enda Stevens.
Yeah.
Alan Judge.
Yeah.
Jeff Hendrick.
Unreal.
That is it.
That's unbelievable.
6 rebels. David Myler. Conor Howrahan.
Yeah.
Alan Brown.
Yeah.
Kevin Long.
Yeah.
Colin Doyle. So they already have definitely a 5. And then John Egan.
Well, you're going to get letters about this one.
Well, John Egan was born in Cork. I'm fairly sure went to school in Cork. Now, he may be the son of a Kerry legend, but they can fight it out amongst themselves. But it's still 5 and 4.
Yeah.
So does this mean Dublin football is in crisis, or that really Cork is now the
This is
stronghold?
unbelievable, isn't it?
You mentioned
It is
the likes
amazing.
of Robbie Brady, not present. Glenn Whelan, not present.
Retiring.
Well,
Potential.
Well, if you want to go down
Potential.
that route, we could go, well, Roy Keane isn't there.
yeah.
Potential.
Not liking this, to be honest with you.
It's unbelievable. How do you feel about that, Rich? How do you feel about that?
I'm as a proud Meath supporter, and I'm
Someone said to me-
to see Darragh Lenihan in the squad.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
representing
good.
the point. But yeah, I just don't want to see this open. Irish football has enough problems. We don't need to open a county versus county schism.
Yeah.
We don't need to open the Cork Dublin.
Someone said to me out there,
rift
though,
again.
Richie, we're going for 5 in a row. It doesn't matter. That's what someone said to me. Different sport. That's.
Well, is this on a more serious note? Is this a reflection of the growing dominance of Leinster rugby and Dublin football?
Well, rugby is the people's game, as we know.
Well, we fully understand that, Richie.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
I think it's more of a reflection that there is games and people getting the chance in different counties other than Dublin.
They don't give a shite about us up in Dublin.
There you go. Get Rico on. What's he have to say about it?
I think Roy used to make that point as well when he was a young lad. So it's turned. Maybe this is a... we should be
Is this
our praise of the FAI and their
does this have
regional
anything to do with our
development.
assistant manager?
I don't know. He's actually poaching players from Cork. He's doing a lot of
That's a very
groundwork.
good point.
Well, it's always been... I'm trying to think back to like the squads that I would have first known, which would have been like late 80s, early 90s. And always would have been a decent spread of players, would there not? Whether it was...
Well,
people who were
you
brought
thought
in.
that because you were from Dublin.
No, I would have thought we would have had a majority dubs.
When you think of Packy Bonner and stuff from Donegal, you
But
think of
Donegal
Roy
has
being from
always had
Cork.
a good stronghold.
We when I was in the squad, we had the dubs with the cultures, and we were made up from everywhere. Where it was like 8, 10 players at least half the squad were dubs, easily. That has got to be a majority of the time, Rich. Surely, no.
I'm doing the maths in my head, and it's probably not making for good radio.
You're the last Mayo international footballer.
All right.
Give yourself a chance, Nathan. Your day may come still.
I feel as though my time has passed.
Listen, if you put yourself about as a burly centre forward with a low centre of gravity, we'll be kind about it that way. You could find yourself as a striker in the Republic of Ireland squad, such as our paucity of
If
options up front.
one of Nathan's 2 boys potentially go on and play for Ireland, they'll be considered dubs.
No. Let's say, whoa.
Now the Egan family is speaking up by proxy.
No. They fully in their Mayo jerseys every year, whether they like it or not. Ollie Comney, the late 1960s, was the last player born in Mayo to play for Ireland. See, while they're easing up on the Cork people and letting them in, there's still something against people from the west of Ireland that they just don't want to acknowledge us. I don't care if there's 2 people from Galway in this squad. Yeah. So, on that bombshell...
3 from Derry as well. 3 from Derry. Even Derry now more than a match for the Dubs now, even there as well.
Don't have Michael O'Neill on to us.
Wow. we will go there in just a little while, but there is some live football. So we've a really busy show. As I say, John Giles with us in studio 7:30. 53106 is the text number. A lot of football. Graham Hunter as well, looking back on the week's Champions League, and Shawnee Maguire going to join us about his brilliant return from injury. Going to talk about that, his hopes, expectations in the Ireland squad. That coming up in the football show. Rugby and Gaelic football from 8 o'clock as well. But Europa League, Richie.
Yeah,
Thursday
second half's underway indeed. Yeah, in the last 16 of the Europa League, namely at the San Siro, where it's AC Milan, who haven't lost, of course, since the 23rd of December in the 2-0 defeat to Atalanta. On that occasion, they're 2-0 down to Arsenal at the moment. It's Henrik Mkhitaryan and Aaron Ramsey who've gotten the first half goals for Arsenal tonight, away to Gennaro Gattuso's side. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid leading at home to Lokomotiv Moscow, also by 2-0. Saúl Ñíguez and Kev's mate Diego Costa with the goals for Atletico tonight. Salzburg have taken the lead away to Borussia Dortmund. It's a penalty from Valon Berisha separating the sides there, and it's still scoreless in Moscow, where CSKA are up against Lyon. Meanwhile, some big news ahead of Cheltenham this evening. Jessica Harrington confirming in the past half an hour or so that Sizing John will not make next week's Cheltenham Gold Cup. Last year's winner of the race disappointed on his last outing at Leopardstown over the Christmas, and Mike Byte remains the short odds favourite for the Gold Cup now.
Absolutely gutted. Honestly, I have Sizing John backed and everything.
You'd half the office on Sizing John. Let's be quite honest about this.
Honestly,
doubles, trebles, you name it.
Everything I have is all riding onto Sizing John. I'm absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted here.
Any word what the issue is?
Jessica Harrington promised, it was obviously her yard or somebody representing her yard, promised a reason.
I think she tweeted actually, Rich.
She tweeted to say that basically that the horse was out, but I don't think there's a reason forthcoming if there is one. I'll get it for you very, very shortly.
It's clearly a huge story for the Irish Challenge, because Sizing John last year won 3 Gold Cups, and I know flattered to deceive at Christmas, but still all the signs from the yard were 6-7 to 1.
The target's always the Gold Cup, and as you say, it was almost like a bet to nothing in my head, an each way bet. It was a great bet.
Yeah, Harrington's said the details of the 8-year-old's absence is down to a hairline non-displaced fracture of the pelvis, has put an end to hopes just 5 days from the start of the season.
We know of course the horse's welfare is the one thing that's in mind, but it's a big blow, as you say, big blow.
Well, it's not going to run with a hairline, whatever.
Displaced fractured pelvis.
Exactly.
It's not good.
It's a priority. Get the horse right, and hopefully it'll be fine.
Back next year.
Yeah, that's what we're.
You're going to Cheltenham, are you, next week?
Yeah, hopefully Thursday. Yeah.
You won't be with us next Thursday night?
No.
Phone's going to be off.
I won't be taking a call as well into the show either.
Live on Skype?
Oh no!
I don't think for all concerned that would be wise.
Yeah. We might just try that. So Joe Schmidt has named the Ireland team.
Yeah, he's kept his changes to a minimum ahead of that visit of Scotland to the Aviva on Saturday. The fit again Tyke Furlong replaces Andrew Porter at tight head, while Gary Ringrose makes the first start of the championship in the centre. He's alongside Bundy Aki. Ian Henderson, Jordan Larmour and Geordie Murphy will join Porter among the replacements. And after being accused by some of now playing Warren Ball, Schmidt today was asked about his supposed pragmatic approach.
I'd probably challenge people to do a little bit more homework and probably not follow the lead of someone who statistically doesn't balance up with what's said. I think there was some really good tight play and some stuff that went through the middle. But there was some stuff down the edges as well. Keith Earl's line break, Johnny's line break, Jacob Stockdale in the corner. Certainly that wasn't a 1+ play. It's 2 of the best passes you'd see in world rugby. So, I think we've got to keep that variety to our game. I think at this stage we've probably made the 3rd most offloads. It's an area where people have loved to beat us with a stick. And it's probably overlooked by people that there is some continuity through our play.
Your fan club is out in force, Kevin. Kev did a great job in the presenter's chair last night, like he's been doing it all his life.
No pressure. Couple of dodgy moments. That's because I had the man beside me, Richie beside me, guided me through it last night. A couple of mistakes, but Richie was good.
Oh yeah,
I'm essentially his cane.
Anything libelous?
No, we're all right, I think. Yeah, I didn't get any phone calls last night.
Richie took the tricky parts. That's what I'd say. Yeah,
that's fair enough. Bitter Spurs fan here. If Spurs went Spursy last night, what did Arsenal do for 19 years in the Champions League? Were they arsey? Michael crying in Limerick.
Doing all right tonight though.
Yeah, Europa League, eh?
Yeah, Europa League Thursday night.
What else going on? So Martin O'Neill?
Yeah, rejuvenated look, as you mentioned, to Martin O'Neill's Republic of Ireland squad for this month's friendly with Turkey. The manager has called up 5 players for the first time, while Shane Long is the only player in the 30-man panel over 30. West Ham's informed defender Declan Rice gets a first promotion to the senior squad, and he's joined by Sheffield United fullback Enda Stevens. 21-year-old Manchester United keeper Kieran O'Hara and Blackburn defenders Darragh Lenihan and Derek Williams are the other new call-ups. Preston's informed pair Shoney Maguire and Alan Brown are also among the provisional squad. O'Neill was also asked today about Michael O'Neill's comments from earlier in the week. The Northern Ireland manager claimed the FAI had made a habit of poaching Catholic players from the north. Players born in Northern Ireland can play, of course, for the Republic as a result of the Good Friday Agreement, and Martin O'Neill expressed his disappointment today at the timing and the nature of Michael O'Neill's comments.
He has admitted that I've not taken a senior player from him. In fact, actually quite the opposite. He's gone, I think he'd take Alex Bruce way back during my time here. So I've not taken one senior player off him at all. To actually talk about religion, bringing religion into it, I think that's something you'd have to ask Michael about. Yeah, very disappointing to hear that. I think the most important issue from this year is that 1, I've never chosen a player anything other than in merit, but 2, really, really important is it is down to the player. It is the player's choice for these issues.
Very strange incident, considering Michael O'Neill has been in the Northern Ireland job for a number of years now, to come out and imply that there's some sort of sectarian bias behind what the FAI are doing.
Yeah.
These players, because of both the Good Friday Agreement and because of the FIFA regulations, if they want to play for the Republic of Ireland, they can do just that. And Martin O'Neill also said he'd met Michael O'Neill just a couple of weeks ago at a game. I think they were at a Fulham match, and nothing was said. So it seems, certainly from being there today and Martin O'Neill's reaction, who was as frustrated and as annoyed on a non-footballing incident as I've ever seen him, that he's quite taken aback by this.
Yeah, well, rightly so. The lads, it's up to the players themselves. I always revert back to the old adage: when you're a kid, who would you want to play for? Who did you support as a boy? The majority of lads every one of the players, looking at Shane Duffy, Darren Gibson, James McLean, these lads supported Republic of Ireland as a boy. They wanted to come and play for us. It was their decision. It wasn't necessarily they're being poached, are they? That's the thing. Maybe at underage level, the one he's talking about, it's still, the fact is that those lads that's coming to play for us would have supported us, and it is ultimately their decision.
Well, we touched on this, and he mentioned players that he's lost.
Alex Bruce.
Alex Bruce, which was a bit of a strange one.
We're still
it's true, though. It is true, isn't it?
It is.
I mean,
it is true.
I'll be funny.
I don't like Alex Bruce is the case where we've, even on top of all that, Bruce made a senior appearance, albeit in a friendly, for Ireland. I don't think Ireland.
I played that game, Richie.
It's a momentous occasion for us all, but I don't think Ireland have gone the other way, whereby somebody's played an international for Northern Ireland and then suddenly the Republic.
No,
the management team
he's frustrated that basically he's looking probably at players at underage, thinking they're going to become part of my setup, and then they decide to go and play for the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
But that happens. Player for Barcelona coming off the bench last night, English McGuane has represented Ireland at underage level. Michael Obafemi, who we all got very excited about a few weeks ago for Southampton, has played for Ireland at underage level, may well decide that he wants to go and play for Nigeria. And we spoke about this in depth at the time, that he lives in London, where there's a very strong Nigerian community. At the time, maybe he was given the call up. We don't know the conversations that are happening, which are when you're 15. If you want to come play for Ireland and Northern Ireland, it's fine. Play for us for a couple of years. It's handy. Some of your schoolmates
see how you like it,
And not even if you like it, but when you're old enough to make a decision, you make a decision. But it has to be up to the player.
I think it is, and you know what as well, and I know that it's keep coming out, I've even heard Johnny Ward talking about it the other day, but the anthem has to be a problem for a lot of the players. It has to be, no matter what we all say about this. I always think about myself as a kid, and watching the team in the anthem was such a huge thing prior to the match. Now, a majority of the players that's playing for them that don't want to stand there listen to the national anthem, how can that be the case, regardless of what we all think or anything? But that can't be right.
And it's an issue that doesn't present itself for Scotland or Wales, regardless of the Scott McTominay situation. There's flair of Scotland and there's land of our fathers for the Welsh, and there's not that confliction that there would be.
Certain players don't want to stand for their anthem, and no matter what we're all going to say, that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. It clearly does. So, I mean, that's a side issue. That's maybe something different from me. But I think in general, it's up to the player, isn't it? They're going to get to a stage where they make that decision. If they get the phone call from the FAI, they want to come and play for us. It's a fact. That's the way it is.
I think clearly the next step is that Michael O'Neill needs to come out and explain the rationale and what he was thinking, and maybe it was just a moment of frustration and he was letting off a bit of steam and he didn't expect this to blow up the way it has. We want to talk about the Paddy Jackson trial. So Stuart Olding took the stand today at his trial in Belfast Crown Court in defence of an allegation of rape made against him. The Ireland and Ulster rugby player is accused of raping a 19-year-old student at an after party at the home of his friend and teammate Paddy Jackson in June 2016. Mr. Jackson is also accused of raping her and denies a further charge of sexually assaulting her. He spent just over 3.5 hours in the witness box yesterday, during which time he emphatically denied the allegations against him. Two of their friends are also on trial for various charges arising from the same alleged incident. Our courts correspondent Frank Graney joins us now from Belfast. But before we continue, as always, when we're covering this trial, we should warn you that the contents of the case are quite graphic and sexual at times, so you should use your discretion if there are some younger listeners alongside you. Frank, we heard earlier in the trial about the amount of alcohol Stuart Olding consumed in the lead up to this party. Was he asked about that when he took to the stand today?
He was, yes. It was one of the first things that Frank O'Donoghue, his barrister who called him into the witness box, asked him about this morning. We heard previously that when he was being interviewed by police and he was asked about the amount of alcohol that he had, he said that he had just arrived back from a tour of South Africa with the Ireland rugby team. He had made 2 appearances there. and he literally just dropped his bags off and went to meet his friends. He said he was on holidays. It was effectively the end of the playing season, so he was on a 4-week holiday, and he went over to Blaine McElroy's house. Blaine McElroy is a friend of his who is also in the dock. He is facing 1 count of exposure. He went over there with Paddy Jackson and Paddy Jackson's brother, and he said that he had 8 tins of Carlsberg. He described going to a pub then in Belfast called Cutter's Wharf, where they watched England playing Iceland in the Euros, and he said that he had about 4 pints of Guinness there and a couple of G&Ts. He said they went to a nightclub then called Ollie's in Belfast City, where he said that he had 5 vodka lemonades and 3 shots of tequila and sambuca. And he said that when he went back to Paddy Jackson's house for an afters party after Ollie's in the early hours of June 28th, 2016, he said that he had 1 beer. So this was, we heard today, over the course of about 10 or 11 hours, that he had his first drink at 4 or 4:30, and he was asked how he was feeling when he went back to the party then, having had about 22 or 23 drinks. And he said that he was very drunk. He accepted that he was very drunk, but he said that he was coherent and he was aware of his whereabouts and things like that.
Okay, and what about the specific allegations made against him? What did he have to say about that?
So the specific allegation that the woman has made against him is that while she claims she was being raped by Paddy Jackson in his bedroom in his home in South Belfast, that Stuart Olding walked in, that she turned to Paddy Jackson, she looked him straight in the eye, she said, and that she pleaded with him. She said something along the lines of, no, not him as well, and that Stuart Olding came in and forced her to perform oral sex on him. Now, we heard last week from his barrister, Mr. O'Donoghue, that Stuart Olding was initially charged with vaginal rape, but that was dropped just before Christmas. So the charge that he is accused of rape and he denies it, but the specific allegation is that he forced her to perform oral sex on him. Now, he was asked about his version of events and what he remembers happening that night. He said that at one point during the party, he decided he'd had enough and it was time to go to bed. He said it wouldn't be unusual for him to share a bed with Paddy Jackson. He said he would stay there maybe 1 or 2 times a month and that they would share a bed. There was nothing unusual about that. So he went upstairs, he went into Paddy Jackson's bedroom. He said the door was closed. He remembers opening it, and when he did, he said he saw the complainant straddling Paddy Jackson on Paddy Jackson's bed. He said she was fully dressed, but he said Paddy Jackson was topless. He said they were kissing, and he said he was about to turn to leave the room when he said that she held her hand out as if to suggest or inviting him in, that she beckoned him in, and that he did, and that he went around to the far side of the bed. He said he started kissing the woman. He said it was consensual. He said he then got on the bed. He lay his head on the pillows. He said his trousers became undone. He wasn't too sure how that came about, but he said that she then performed oral sex on him. He said at no point during this sexual activity did she show any signs of distress, and he was asked about consent. He was asking at any point during their exchange in the room, and he said he was in there for about 10 minutes. He said at any point did she show any signs that she wasn't consenting to what was going on, and he said no, and if she had, he said nothing would have happened that night. He said that what happened was completely consensual between them.
And finally, Frank, can you tell us about Olding's cross-examination from the other side?
Sure, yes. Prosecuting barrister Toby Hedworth was given an opportunity to ask him any questions arising from his evidence in chief, and he did ask him a few, but I suppose the general thrust of his cross-examination was he repeatedly accused Stuart Olding of lying about what happened that night. He accused him of lying about the woman beckoning him to come in the way that she did. Like I mentioned a moment ago, he said that she held her hand out and invited him into the room. Mr. Hedworth said that didn't happen. Mr. Holding insisted it did. He was asked what Paddy Jackson was doing while she was performing this sex act on him. We heard that Stuart Olding said that he was behind her, but that he couldn't make out what Paddy was doing. And he said, given the fact that that was only about 2 feet away, that Paddy Jackson would have been at the foot of the bed effectively. Mr. Hedworth said he found that incredibly hard to believe, that he wouldn't have been able to tell what his friend was doing. He was also asked about Dara Florence walking into the bedroom. This was another girl that was at the party that night, and she gave evidence earlier in the trial of walking in and turning around to her friend and saying that she had witnessed a threesome. Now, one thing that she said to police when she was giving a witness statement was that she was 100% certain that Paddy Jackson was having sex with the woman when she walked into the room, and that Stuart Olding was lying on his back and that her head was down towards the middle of his body. Stuart Olding said he wasn't aware of this woman coming in. He had no recollection of it. And when he asked why that was during his evidence in chief, he said that it was possibly because she couldn't get fully into the room, that he wouldn't have had an actual visual of her. But he also accepted it might have been because of his state of mind. When he was asked about that, he just described it as drunkenness. Mr. Hedworth said that he was lying about that. Again, Mr. Olding denied that was the case. He said that he was lying about a lunch that he went on with Mr. Jackson and his two co-accused later that day, where he claims that there was no discussion about the distress that the woman was in. And this is in relation to Rory Harrison, another man who's on trial accused of perverting the course of justice and withholding information. We heard he took her home in a taxi, and there were some text messages exchanged just an hour before he met them for lunch, where she had texted Rory Harrison to say what happened last night was consensual. And Stuart Olding was asked, was that discussed over lunch? He said it wasn't. Mr. Hedworth said that he found it incredible that wouldn't have been discussed over lunch. And he asked, was he angry with his friends for not bringing up her condition and those text messages that she had sent them? And he said yes. And when he was asked, was he furious? He said he was. But he did. When Mr. Hedworth concluded his cross-examination, he effectively put it to him that Stuart Olding and his friends were trying to cover up what happened that drunken night. And Mr. Olding answered him and replied by saying, again, what happened that night was completely consensual.
Okay, thanks as always, Frank Graney there, our courts correspondent reporting from Belfast. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, Frank. Richie, what else is happening?
Pretty bad day again for Rory McIlroy. His struggles continue with the Masters just a month away now, of course. He shot a 3 over par opening round of 74 at the Valspar Championship in Florida. Seamus Power is even worse off. He had a 5 over par round of 76 today. The lead on course is currently held by Corey Connors of Canada. He's 4 under par, and in the clubhouse a shot clear of both Kelly Craft and Hui Kim of South Korea. Out on course, Shane Lowry's 6 holes into his first round. He's 1 under par. Graham McDowell, he's 1 over through 5. Padraig Harrington is 2 over through 8 holes, and 1 Tiger Woods is currently level par through his first 5 holes.
Alright, we are here with Air, the home of Air Sport. Get amazing live sporting content free with Air Broadband. Richie, thank you. Kev, hey lads, first time ever, 2 lads from Galway on the squad, Cunningham and Horgan, Paul and Salt Hill. I'm fairly sure Greg Cunningham and David Ford were both in the squad at the same time.
They would have been for the Argentina game.
Some stage. Well, Greg Cunningham was certainly around the squad quite a bit under Trapattoni, but we will check it out, Paul. We won't accuse you of lying just yet or trying to put us off the scent.
Can we employ a full-time stats man to kind of figure this out for us? Our own version of like Opta stats.
Or we could just pay Opta and steal all their stuff, like I currently do, Richie.
I doubt very much
in my pocket.
I doubt very much Opta will actually carry this stat, but anyway.
No, alright. Kev is going to be here. We're going to talk to Sean Maguire on the football show, Graham Hunter as well. Richie will keep us up to date with all the live Europa League and all the golf as well throughout the evening. But up next, joining us in studio is John Giles.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
Tech Talk with Jess